Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CM Trading. Today is October 15, 2021, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the U.S. markets rally and roar back to life after a beginning of a sluggish week. Now looking at the major economic events of the day, at 2:30 South African time, we have a core retail sales number coming out. It's not a super important number, but you do want to know it's coming out unless if there's any surprises. Now looking at corporate earnings, Goldman Sachs coming out with their quarterly earning reports today after and the last of the major corporations. Now looking at the Forex symbols, the Aussie dollar continues to push higher. Well, looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, as we said, roar back to life, and commodities, gold within range, while oil continues to surge higher. Now, it's the FAANG stocks and the bank stocks that took us higher yesterday. And lastly, Bitcoin is almost back to its record high. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to start out with the Aussie USD on a daily chart and look at that nice range we've had. We should have been watching this more carefully because this was really the one to watch. It was the strongest of the three major pairs versus the dollar. Considering the GBP and the euro, they've been very, very sluggish, and they haven't rallied as quickly as the Aussie. Looking at the GBP, it did rally, but not as much. You see, it kind of tapered off towards the end, and we're looking here at the euro, which is really dead. I mean, it got that bounce at 15.20, but really relatively really dead. Now looking at gold, all right, not much doing here. Every time it goes to 17.20, 17.30 to 18.30, keeps on playing within this range. So that's always an opportunity. Now, we didn't have a daily review a couple of days ago to really give that insight to you, but now you know, okay, every time it hits 17.20, it's a buy. Every time it hits 18.30, it's a sell. And it continues until it breaks out from this trading range. Now looking at crude oil, look at that at $82. Beautiful, beautiful setup here as it's continually, rebounding from our sluggish return from the beginning of the pandemic. So you could pretty much say that we've come full circle with crude oil. Now looking at the American stock market, okay, we're looking at right now the Dow Jones, which is trading at 34,900. This went up 1,000 points within 24 to 32 hours. Unbelievable. Look at that. From the low here of October 13th up to today, okay, where we're holding at right now, we went from 34,000 to 34,900. Unbelievable move within that time period, okay? So it is hitting that resistance-ish level at this area right now. The question is whether or not this is a bona fide resistance-ish area. Now, my inclination is to think it is. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the volume is lower than relatively I would have expected it. And when that happens, when this happens specifically, that means that there's less chances for it to break out, okay? But I'm watching this very carefully because this could really develop into a very, very lucrative trade. So keep that in mind later today. Now looking at the individual stocks, they all rallied. If we look at Apple, it rallied. Not back to 155, but it bounced, okay? It did get that bounce from 138, $4. If we look at Facebook, also got that bounce, but it's not enough of a catalyst, okay? Microsoft, though, did get it. Okay, Microsoft went up to $300. Now, this is really a tell sign to let us know whether or not this is going to be a double top here, and then we're going to see further selling going into the end of the month of October. Now, looking at Amazon as well, not that big of a bounce. Okay, so you didn't get that big of a bounce that I would have liked it, whereas JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley did get that follow through. Now, looking at Bitcoin, this is where we're at. We're at 60,000. Okay, this is the top of the move. And if we break that 60,000, we could see it push up to new record highs. This thing could go up, if it does push above 64, it could go up to 100,000. Okay, I mean, there's sky's the limit at that point. Okay, so keep that in mind. Even though Bitcoin is such a relatively risky kind of trade because it's much more volatile than the rest of the market, just be very, very careful how you look at it and how big you trade with it, because it can, if you find yourself on the wrong side, it could definitely hurt. Okay, but if you find yourself on the right side, then you can make a lot of money in it as well. So just keep that in mind. Big risk, big profits. That's always the Chinese proverb. So you got to keep that in mind. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day and a beautiful weekend. Thank you.